Welcome back, witches and Wheel of Time fans. I'm doing an extra video today that I've been promising for a while now, all about one of my favorite topics in all of the Wheel of Time, which is the world of dreams, or Teleran Riyadh. So this video is going to be a little bit different from my normal Wheel of Time breakdowns, and maybe a little bit more akin to what I usually talk about on this channel most of the time, which is paganism and witchcraft, in case you didn't know. But the topic of the world of dreams has always really fascinated me and been near and dear to my own heart, because not only is Egwene one of my favorite characters, she's right up there for number one with Lanfear. I mean, I think Lanfear is always going to be number one in my heart, but Egwene's probably number two if I had to pick. Both of them are very prominent dreamwalkers in the series. As I've said, I'm somewhat of a dreamwalker myself, in that I am a pretty frequent and prolific lucid dreamer. So for the first half of the video, I'll just be talking about the world of dreams as it operates within the Wheel of Time novels, and then toward the latter half of the video, I'll get into my own personal experiences with dream walking, aka lucid dreaming. So if you're interested in that, stick around until the end. But if you just want to hear about how the world of dreams works in the Wheel of Time, then you can just skip that part. But let's get into it. Now, most of the information in this video is going to be taken straight from the world of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, in which there's an entire section on Teleran Riyadh. Teleran Riyadh, the name in and of itself, definitely has echoes of things like Arianrod or Rhiannon, which can mean things like the wheel or, the silver wheel. And they are inhabitants of the other world, which I also have an entire video about if anyone's interested. Teleran Riyadh, or the world of dreams, is a kind of other world within the Wheel of Time, in that it kind of overlaps the real world in a lot of ways. But because it's a dream world, it also operates very differently from the waking world. They are mirrors of each other in a lot of ways. So the book states that the pattern that is woven of men's lives is only one reality, part of a greater pattern woven of each and every possible reality. But between the weave of this great pattern are spaces, and it is there that the ancients believed Teleran Riyadh exists. It's kind of a parallel or mirror world overlapping the real world, but able to be affected by the dreamer's thoughts and willpower. So as I said in my episode 5 breakdown, the world of dreams is largely thought and willpower based, and hopefully we'll also get into a lot more of that with Perrin and the Wolf Dream, because the Wolf Dream is Teleran Riyadh. They're the same place. It's just like how heroes of the Horn go to live and dwell in Teleran Riyadh in between reincarnations. Wolves, when they die, their spirit, like Hoppers, go to live in the world of dreams. So Perrin can meet with Hopper and other wolves there and learns to navigate the world of dreams much as Egwene does, being a dreamwalker. So anyone can accidentally enter Teleran Riyadh while dreaming their own regular personal dreams, because they are separate. Everyone has their own personal dream bubble, as I like to think of it, and in the novels, Egwene and other dreamwalkers can enter others' dreams. You kind of enter this void where, you'll see different dream bubbles as kind of just stars or beacons of light hovering around you, and if you know who you're looking for, you can hone in on a specific person's dreams and enter them and speak with them there. So we saw a little bit of Egwene doing that at the end of episode 5, where she was entering all of her friends' own personal dreams. Unlike personal dreams, Teleran Riyadh is a real place. Now, our own dreams can be dangerous if we get caught up in a nightmare, or if a dreamwalker enters someone's personal dreams and gets caught up in that person's nightmares, and they let that person's reality overtake their own sense of reality. So as long as you're able to kind of keep a grip on yourself and maintain your grip on reality and what it is, you'll be fine. But if you lose that and get caught up in the other person's dreams or nightmare reality and let it affect you, then, as I said, it's kind of like the Matrix. If you die in the Matrix, you die in real life. And if your mind perceives what's happening as real, then it will really affect you. An individual's own dreams seem to just form their own kind of personal world or bubble that can be touched by others. And we see a lot in the novels and hopefully coming up in the show of dreamwalkers like Egwene and eventually Elaine and Nynaeve, through the help of Dream Terangrial, being able to enter the world of dreams and communicate with each other, deliver messages, and even search for things that they need and spy on each other. So when I've been really emphasizing in the show their emphasis on Swan and the Amerlin studies and her box of secrets, there's a lot of people infiltrating the Amerlin study in the world of dreams because it kind of mirrors reality in a lot of ways. They hope that they'll be able to actually go in and rifle through people's things and perhaps find clues or information for things that they need to do in real life or things that they're searching for. It's very flimsy and fluid a lot of times. So they'll be trying to look at a certain piece of paper, but then it will disappear from their hands because in reality that paper is in the box. Somewhat of a mirror of reality, but it can change very rapidly. The book also states that while pulling others into one's own dream is possible, dreamwalkers, and especially the Aiel wise ones, never do so because they believe it is too dangerous to the point that it is considered a taboo or an evil act to do so. And I think it's a danger thing, a consent thing. You know, it's very rude to just abruptly pull someone from their own dream into your own dream where they can be affected by your own thought and willpower. And similarly, a person can physically enter Teleron Riyadh in their actual body instead of this kind of dream walk astral travel that they're doing by opening a gateway and actually capital T traveling there. But this is also considered an ultimate taboo, and Aiel dreamwalkers say that those who do so will lose a part of what makes them human. Maybe because it does operate so differently from the real world, and your thoughts and your willpower are so strong there that you can lose touch with actual reality because it's more like an other world or just a parallel world. It's not the real world, so therefore you're not really supposed to physically be running around in there, and Perrin does a lot of it too within the Wolf Dreams, and Hopper strongly cautions him against it. In order to tear yourself physically out of reality and enter Teleron Riyadh, it may involve perhaps like having to leave a piece of yourself behind or lose a part of yourself, or perhaps it's just that the longer you're there in the world of dreams and away from the real world, the more you start to lose touch with it, and therefore actually like lose touch with your own sense of belonging in the real world and your sense of humanity in the long run, as we will see with characters like Slayer. Because Teleron Riyadh is more of a less permanent reflection of the waking world, and it's interesting to note that when Perrin is learning about the wolf dream, the wolves talk about how wolves and other wild animals like deer can be present in Teleron Riyadh, but there are no domesticated animals. Wild animals also journey in the world of dreams, but domestic animals are absent, and some hold that it may be because they have been so greatly changed by their relationship with mankind that they have forever lost their connection to the permanence of nature, which is so strongly reflected in the world of dreams, and therefore lost their connection to the world of dreams. So maybe that also kind of holds true for people. If people have become too domesticated and separated from the natural world, which is a reflection of Teleron Riyadh, then they are less likely to be able to touch or enter Teleron Riyadh in their dreams. But maybe it's, you know, people like people from the Two Rivers, good, stout, hearty Two Rivers folk that haven't lost their day-to-day connection with nature and are therefore, like Perrin and Egwene, more easily able to touch Teleron Riyadh. So just a little bit of food for thought there. There is an interesting passage here that might also allude to why it's dangerous or why you might lose yourself in the world of dreams, because its flexible character makes it very seductive, for there one can go anywhere and do almost anything. So it's very alluring and entrancing for that reason, but also very dangerous for that reason. And why the Aiel Wise Ones have so many boundaries in place and kind of gatekeep it so strongly if you're not experienced. So Teleron Riyadh, being this more non-permanent reflection or mirror of the waking world, things that are more permanent, landscapes, mountains, buildings, forests, roads, towns, those are all going to stay in place and remain unchanged for the most part, just like they do in real life. But more movable objects, such as papers within the Amerlin study, like I talked about, are more ephemeral and can change to reflect movements or changes in the real world. But whatever changes you make in Teleron Riyadh will also not affect anything in the waking world. So I think there's a scene in, it's either the Shadow Rising or Fires of Heaven, where the girls get captured, and so Gwen is trying to dreamwalk to get them freed from their cells, but she can't just go up and unlock the door because in the real world the door is locked, so it's constantly going to change back to mirror its real world counterpart and remain locked when she goes back into her body in the waking world. But as I alluded to in my episode 5 breakdown video, because Teleron Riyadh is so strongly based in just your thought and your willpower, being able to change and manipulate things around you in the world of dreams, even channeling can work very differently there. If you're a channeler and you're walking around in Teleron Riyadh and you believe in your ability to channel and it's just kind of a given for you that you'll be able to tap into the one power and wield it, then you will be able to do so just as you would in the waking world. But say you believe that you're the strongest channeler of all time. You might be able to do things that you would never be able to do in real life just by believing that it's possible. We see Perrin utilizing this a lot in the Wolf Dream to learn to be able to travel great distances just by thinking it, or just by imagining that he's traveling, thousands of miles with a single step, or even being able to block channelers' weaves in the world of dreams just by believing that he can do so. People will literally channel balefire at him and he'll just be like, no, and divert the weaves around him or make them melt away just by thinking about it. That's how strongly your own willpower can assert itself and become reality in the dream world. I really think Robert Jordan was onto something here, just with comparing people like Egwene's experiences and training as a dreamwalker and how the world of dreams can operate compared to my own experiences. Here's where you can click out of the video if you're only here for the Wheel of Time stuff, because now I'm going to get into some of my own personal experiences. I've been lucid dreaming since I was a child. It started out as mostly I'm in a nightmare or I'm having some sort of dream scenario that's frightening, maybe someone's chasing me, and I'm just ready to escape that situation. And instead of trying to run away like you would in real life, I slowly gained the ability to be able to hover off the ground and levitate, and then that turned into being able to fully fly up into the air and just fly away from whatever the scenario was and literally just nope myself out of it. And that has carried forward into adulthood to the point that if I'm having a recurring dream scenario and my brain is able to register like, oh, I've been here before, I don't want to do this again, I can just kind of fly away and take off, even if it's a non-reoccurring dream, but it's still the same circumstances where it's very anxiety inducing or something frightening or even just very routine to the point where I'm like, oh, this dream about being back in college again and it's finals week? No thank you. I know that in reality I graduated over a decade ago and I don't need to be here doing this again, so I'll just float away and decide to go somewhere else. So now as an adult, I've definitely, especially with trying to now hone things like witchcraft and spell work abilities and do trance work, astral travel, and study and learn about all those things, it dawned on me like, oh, hey, that's what I've literally been doing my whole life, is accidentally astral traveling in my dreams, to the point where sometimes I can literally be in a whole other place. I visited Japan a couple years ago, so sometimes my dreams will be I'm walking around over there. I do a lot of window shopping in my dreams, basically. So a lot of being in very open public spaces like malls, shopping centers, bookstores, just kind of walking around, browsing different things. It's a lot like Spirited Away, where you have not just the bathhouse, but also like the shopping district for the spirits with the night market and all the booths with the food set up. I've definitely been in that kind of location a lot, where it's different stalls and market stalls and sellers selling foods and different things like that, and I'm just kind of walking around browsing. So yeah, it's a lot of that kind of thing. But then I've also been able to deliberately or sometimes accidentally literally blip to another reality, much as Dreamwalkers can do in the Wheel of Time. I would say from my own personal experience, we do all have our own personal dream bubble, and mine at this point is very well established to where I know exactly how it's laid out, that like, okay, over here is like my college campus mixed with a little bit of like neighborhoods and subdivisions that I lived in growing up, and then over here we have like the town I lived in as a kid, and then over here is like out in the countryside where we'll go do some stuff, and there's creeks and more rural type homes. And then if I try to like fly too far in either direction, that's where it gets a little bit dangerous and less well mapped out, for lack of a better word. I've seriously had dreams where I'm trying to like push the boundaries or extend the boundaries of my dream bubble, and it's like that area of the map hasn't been explored yet. Here there be monsters, so you just get to a certain point and there's nothing, and it's just countryside, like rolling hills and forests, but there will be dangerous things lurking there as well outside of like the safety of my dream bubble. And same if I go too far to the east, and the south of my dream bubble is literally just a coastline and an ocean. I've had occasional dreams where I have tried to exit this personal dream bubble, and being a Norse pagan predominantly and studying the different realms within Norse pagan cosmology, I think it is set up somewhat similarly, insofar that anytime I have managed to push the boundary of my own dream bubble to the point that I, as Jim Morrison would say, break on through to the other side, I have found myself in these realms that do somewhat resemble how I have pictured some of the Norse realms, such as Vanaheim or Elfheim, because Elfheim is said to be this upper realm from Midgard, and I have had dreams where I can fly. So I'm like, okay, instead of flying in either direction, I'm gonna fly up as far as I can to the point that I'm like up past the clouds, getting to where the atmosphere is getting thinner and you can see stars, and by that point, before I could kind of like get to outer space, I found myself in this complete other location. Either I would wake up, or there was one time where I literally blipped out of that reality by flying upward as far as I could, and then it was like I had opened a trapdoor in the earth and came out into this forest, and I kid you not, like two Legolas type Mirkwood style elves in like their cloaks that been like dressed to blend in with the environment around them and armed, like they had been set to watch that exit in case anyone managed to come out of there. And it must not have happened very often, because they were kind of looking at me and then looking at each other like, oh shit, one of them managed to make it out. What do we do? What do we do with them? What do we do now? But then I woke up. So it was like I was kind of forced out of there before anything could come of it. And then I've had other dreams where I've accidentally kind of blipped into this very L. Ron Hubbard, full of just eldritch horrors, endlessly devouring each other, weird crazy shit, and was like, no thank you, and noped the fuck out of there immediately and just went back to my regular dreams and went on about my business. And then I have also had other dreams where I maybe strayed too far in either direction and it was getting to be too dangerous for a mere mortal like me, and there were literal like giants roaming the earth, and someone very akin to Odin, being a way tamer and realm traveler himself, I had this sensation of literally being plucked up by like the back of my shirt or the scruff of my neck and being sat on the back of a like either motorcycle or perhaps eight-legged steed, and being told like, you can't be here, this place is too dangerous for you, so let me just take you back to where it's safe real quick. That's kind of what I mean when I say I'm somewhat of a dreamwalker myself. I'm pretty prolific at traveling within my own dream bubble right now, to the point where I do lucid dream almost every night and can kind of control what's happening there to certain extents. But for the most part, I have become somewhat more content than I was in the beginning to just stay put in my own little realm and do window shopping, or sometimes I may cross paths with people that I know in real life, and it does almost seem like I am crossing paths with them and kind of meeting them in our own dream wanderings, because not as routine or vague as my normal dreams where you're just talking to people and they might be people I know, or they might just be like made up dream people. But on occasion I will just be like, oh hey, so and so, fancy meeting you here, and we'll just kind of catch up for a little bit before I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go over here and resume my normal dream activities, and they kind of go off to do the same. And then I've also had dreams where I cross paths with people that seem vaguely familiar, and it's like a deja vu, like where have I met you before, and we'll have similar interactions. And then I'll be talking to someone online on like the pagan discords that I frequent, someone who I've never met face to face in real life, but then I'll like see a profile picture of them and then it's like Spider-Man pointing meme when we were talking about the dream we had last night where we met a person and we were doing similar activities, and it's like, oh my god, that was you. So I have had those types of experiences, not very frequently, but yeah, I'm just someone who has a lot of very reoccurring dreams, to the point that, I tend to recognize that I'm dreaming and then be able to lucid dream a lot. And so reading The Wheel of Time, I definitely always found a lot of similarities to how I am able to move and operate within my own dream world. I really wonder where Robert Jordan pulled a lot of that stuff from, because a lot of it seems really accurate to my own personal experiences. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you guys as well. And if you're interested in hearing me talk more about my own experience as a lucid dreamer or dreamwalker, let me know, and I can do a whole other video kind of going more into that, because that's definitely where my focus has been since I started going down this more serious pathway of studying paganism and things like Wicca and witchcraft, then realizing, oh hey, yeah, reading about astral travel and things like that, and the light bulb going on, and that, oh my gosh, I've literally been doing this my whole life. No wonder Gwen and all of that storyline was always one of my favorite things in all of the series, is because it just mirrored so much of my own experiences, and I didn't even know it at the time. So now going back, looking on it, knowing what I know now, Robert Jordan was really on to something with Talaran Riyadh. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was maybe a little bit all over the place, but I just wanted to take some time now that we've had the concept really introduced in the show, and they're doing a great job with it and covering all of the basics, and give you just a little bit more detail from the world of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time on Talaran Riyadh. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my next review and breakdown video, and until then, stay classy.